Welcome. You're tuning into Calligraphy Unscripted. I'm Christy Tony, a calligraphy expert with 16 years of experience. And in this podcast, you can expect storytelling, actionable tips, and mindset hacks to help you along in this discipline. So let's just jump right in and ink up. Welcome to the Calligraphy Unscripted Podcast. I'm your host, Christy Tony, and I'm excited to begin this podcasting journey with you. My main objectives in starting this podcast is to share stories, help you with your mindset, and encourage you to take imperfect daily action in your business, or maybe start a business if you are a hobbyist looking to go to the next step. I'm just happy to be able to continue to grow community in a podcast form, and I look forward to connecting with everyone. So I want to start by sharing the story of how I got started, my origin story. It may be a little unorthodox, and I will definitely be dating myself with this story, so stay tuned. Okay, my introduction to broad edge calligraphy began at Lindblom Technical High School here in Chicago. It was through a commercial art class that I took. I was already accustomed to working with my hands through my architectural drafting classes. I actually took 4 years of drafting. And I fell in love with the unique style of the Gothic characters. It also did not hurt that I had an artistic ability. So I'd taken 2 years of Japanese instruction in 7th and 8th grade, and that was another instance where what should have been a daunting task ended up feeling easier because I felt like I was having fun, So, I was learning these katakana, these kanji characters. It was so difficult, but it was like, oh, I can draw these. So, same thing with calligraphy. I think it was just the interest that I took in actually crafting these letters. I knew I could do it. I had that confidence. So fast forward to 2004 and I get married, and all my friends are getting married too, by the way, around this time. And I did all the calligraphy for my wedding and my friends' weddings. And, my friends and family encouraged me to see if I could earn money with the discipline. And I wanted to give it a try. I felt like I could give it a go. I was working full-time at the time as a print production manager. So my whole life can be characterized as some form of ink on paper. So I was doing that full-time. So I was already in kind of a creative industry. I was at an ad agency when I was actually doing the print production management. So I was accustomed to working with printers. That's important to say as well. So my understanding of the printing process, ability to work with printers, just led me to offer both calligraphy and invitation and stationery services. So I officially started in 2007. That was my first bridal show that I showed at. So I said, okay, this is it. I'm starting. So then social media came along a couple of years later. It probably came along. It just made calligraphy and hand lettering extremely popular. What once had been a small or felt like a small word of mouth industry, it just turned it into something really bigger. It seemed like all of a sudden everyone was interested in either securing your services for their wedding or special event, or they wanted to learn the discipline themselves so they could do some DIY for their own events. At the same time, social media began to profoundly change our industry. Weddings and events began to become uber personal. So like before, like 07, 08, when I did weddings, you would have a guest book sign, a few reserved signs, maybe cards and gifts, maybe a welcome sign. That was not an absolute staple either. But then as you get, further along, in the years go by, you begin to see more stations. And with that, there was a need for more station identifiers. I know it seems elementary, but I mean, I lived through this and it just became insane how many signs were needed. And I did a blog about it years ago, and I said that signs or custom signage for your wedding has to be an actual line item at this point. You have to have it as a line item. You need to budget for these signs because it just got so popular. Now, Pinterest at the same time, it's on a parallel path. Pinterest was created in 2010, and it influenced clients to ask calligraphers for the things that they were seeing. It was a complete game changer. We all poured over Pinterest so that we can kind of keep up with the trends of what people were seeing. It was amazing. You had photo booth signs, in memoriam, restroom signs, flip-flop basket signs, all this stuff that honestly you just didn't see in the earlier part of my career, at least in terms of the wedding industry. So, add to this, at the same time that weddings were becoming uber personalized, couples began asking if their envelope addressing could match their names that were on the invitations. So, if you think about a wedding invitation, you think about the words like maybe, you are invited. That's usually in more like a block font. And then you see the couple's name and it's in a script font, usually. So this was another game changer because if you're asking me to match the name style from your invitation, then that means that, I had to learn pointed pen. I had been doing mostly broad edge calligraphy, and that was fine. People recognized broad edge calligraphy as calligraphy, full stop. So, to actually do your name in a script, it would be difficult. With a broad edge pen, you had to change. So, this question persisted about matching their addresses with these names. And if I'm being honest, the broad edge just became a little dated. It just did. Um, Now, not only with Pinterest was Pinterest making the broad edge look a little dated as far as it related to weddings, but with the digital invitation companies coming along, that also made the broad edge dated because they had all these fonts that were whimsical, that were bouncy, and that just became it. So you think of companies like Minted, Wedding Paper Divas, Zazzle, they were just the pioneers to just show these script styles. And when I say bouncy, I mean that the letters violated the baseline so that the letters appeared a little jagged. So, this style basically took over. I mean, it took over not only the wedding industry, but also the home decor signage industry. I mean, fonts like Bombshell Pro, Carolina Pro Black, Cantoni, I mean, they could be found on everything from bless our home signs to embroidered pillows in Home Goods or TJ Maxx. They were literally everywhere. And honestly, all these years later, you're still going to see that bouncy script. Maybe they're mixing it up just a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit more of a contemporary look going on right now, but you're still going to see those bouncy styles. They are not going anywhere. So I said all that to say that my work had no choice but to be influenced by this phenomenon. So I taught myself pointed pen. And I'm saying it that quickly, but it was long and it was a painful process. So, and there was not a ton of resources out there to help you. Not like now. I mean, there's stuff everywhere, but back then, No. I will say, with the exception of quitting smoking 12 years ago, teaching myself pointed pen is probably the hardest thing that I've done. And yeah, that's a sliver of my origin story, which we all have, right? But I just wanted to let you know how I started out. I started out being a traditional calligrapher, doing a variety of broad-edged calligraphy styles. I was also a stationer doing invitations, programs, menus, things like that. And I was doing it during a unique time in the wedding industry, because not long after I started, everything started to change. So I'll never, ever forget that. It was unbelievable. So, I was introduced to it in high school. Was doing calligraphy for my own wedding along with my friends' weddings. Started the business officially in 2007, and then watching how social media and Pinterest and the digital online invitation companies, the font designers, um, they just forever changed the wedding industry and skyrocketed calligraphy's popularity. I always tell people now, just with the popularity of social media being so high and calligraphy having such a high visibility, that it is a great time to become a calligrapher. If you are feeling drawn to this discipline, I would encourage you to come on and take the plunge, because not only can it be something that's profitable for you if you decide to turn it into a business, it also has so many good mindfulness qualities in terms of relaxing you, unplugging from social media and television. It's just a wonderful thing. I can say so many wonderful things about calligraphy and how it's personally helped me, but I just want to introduce myself, let you know who I am, let you know what I want this podcast to do and what I want it to do for you. And I'm just hoping that you guys will subscribe and hang out with me, because it was an exciting time, to be sure. In the next few episodes, I want to talk about mural lettering, how I became known for it inside this discipline, and also how it spurred a love of hand lettering in me. So I do cheat on my calligraphy with hand lettering, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. So thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I appreciate you listening. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Check out some of my problem-solving content in the show notes, and I'd love to connect with you on socials. I can be found on Patreon, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube under Calligraphy by CT. Until next time.